Welcome to YC Education.
Halo semuanya, selamat datang kembali di channel YouTube kami. Senang sekali bisa kembali menyapa kalian di episode podcast kali ini. Hari ini kita akan membahas tema yang sangat menyenangkan dan penuh kenangan indah, yaitu tentang cerita liburan dan perjalanan favorit kita.
Halo teman-teman, siapa di sini yang suka traveling? Menceritakan pengalaman liburan adalah cara yang sangat bagus untuk melatih bahasa Inggris, terutama kalimat bentuk lampau, past tense. Seperti biasa, obrolan kami sajikan dengan tempo lambat dan kosakata level A2 yang simpel. Yuk, kita mulai obrolannya.
So, Santi, today we are talking about travel memories. Traveling is one of my favorite activities in the world because it allows us to see new places and rest from our daily work. I want to tell you about my favorite trip. 3 years ago, I went to a small mountain village with 2 of my closest friends. We stayed there for 4 days during the summer. We rented a tiny wooden cabin near a large pine forest. The air was extremely fresh, cold, and clean, which was very different from the noisy and polluted city where I live. Every morning, we woke up early at 6 o'clock to watch the sunrise. We drank hot coffee on the balcony and listened to the birds singing in the trees. During the day, we went hiking in the mountains. We walked for many hours along narrow paths, surrounded by green trees and beautiful wildflowers. On the second day, we found a hidden waterfall with very clear and cold water. We took many photos, swam for a little bit, and had a simple picnic with sandwiches and fruit near the river. At night, we sat around a small campfire, cooked barbecue, and looked at the bright stars in the sky. It was a very simple holiday, but it made me feel so peaceful and happy. It taught me that we don't always need to spend a lot of money on luxurious hotels to have a wonderful vacation. What about you, Santi? What is your favorite travel memory?
That sounds like a magical trip, Ryan. I love nature, but my favorite travel memory is actually about a cultural trip to a historic coastal city 2 years ago. I traveled there alone, which was my very first time doing a solo trip. At first, I felt a little bit scared because I had to manage everything by myself, from booking the hotel room to finding my way around the city using maps. But as soon as I arrived, my fear disappeared because the local people were amazingly friendly and welcoming. I stayed in a small, cozy guest house in the old part of the city. The streets were very narrow and made of old stone, with colorful houses on both sides. Every day, I spent hours just walking around the city, visiting ancient museums, art galleries, and old churches. My absolute favorite part of the trip was exploring the local street food markets. Every evening, the main street was filled with small food stalls selling fresh seafood, local soups, and delicious sweet desserts. I tried a famous local fish dish that was slightly spicy, and it was so delicious that I ate it 3 nights in a row. Traveling alone was a fantastic experience for me because it made me feel independent and brave. I realized that I could handle problems on my own, and I returned home with a lot of confidence and happy memories.
Solo travel is truly a great way to grow as a person. Santi, I really admire your bravery. When we travel, we also often face unexpected situations or small problems, but those moments usually turn into the best stories later. On my mountain trip, for example, we had a small problem on the 3rd day. We lost our map while walking in the forest, and our mobile phones had no internet signal at all. For about 20 minutes, we felt a bit panicked because all the trees looked exactly the same, and we didn't know which way led back to our cabin. Fortunately, we saw an old local farmer walking with his cow. He couldn't speak much English, and we didn't know his local dialect well, but we used simple words and hand gestures to explain that we were lost. He smiled warmly, pointed down a small path, and walked with us for 10 minutes until we saw the main road again. He was so kind. That experience reminded me that most people in the world are helpful and good. It also taught me to always be prepared and bring a real paper map when going into nature. Travel problems can be scary at the moment, but they teach us how to stay calm and solve challenges.
I totally agree, Ryan. Unexpected moments are often the heart of any trip. Another reason why I love traveling so much is that it teaches us to appreciate different cultures and ways of living. Before I traveled to different regions, I thought everyone lived and thought the same way I did. But when you visit new places, you see how people in other cultures eat, speak, dress, and spend their free time. It opens your mind and helps you become more open-minded and tolerant. Also, traveling is a fantastic opportunity to practice your English. When I was on my trip, The guest house where I stayed had many international travelers. In the evening, we all sat together in the living room, drank tea, and talked about our countries. Even though none of us were native English speakers, we used simple English to share our stories. We talked about our favorite foods, our families, and our traditional festivals. It was wonderful because English acted as a bridge that connected people from completely different parts of the world. That trip motivated me even more to practice my English every single day.
Nah, teman-teman pembelajar bahasa Inggris, itulah cerita kami tentang pengalaman liburan dan perjalanan favorit kami. Bagaimana dengan kalian sendiri? Apa tempat paling berkesan yang pernah kalian kunjungi?
Yuk, ceritakan pengalaman liburan kalian di kolom komentar menggunakan bahasa Inggris sederhana ya. Jangan lupa untuk klik tombol like, subscribe, dan bagikan video ini ke teman-teman yang sedang belajar bahasa Inggris level A2. Terima kasih sudah mendengarkan, dan sampai jumpa di episode selanjutnya. Bye-bye.